real-life married couple Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz had spent 6 years playing Lucy and Ricky Ricardo on I Love Lucy, and had become America's favorite couple. But by 1957, Desi had to spend most of his time running Desilu Studios. Their marriage was shakier than ever before, and they were both looking for a change. So instead of doing a weekly half-hour series, they decided to do monthly, hour-long specials. Due to the high budget, it ended up being more like every couple of months. Because of having changing sponsors, the series had a couple different titles, but in reruns, it's usually referred to as the Lucy-Desi Comedy Hour. At the time and today, this series is generally considered inferior to I Love Lucy. Ugh. The pacing is too slow, the attention is too much on the guest stars, and the relationship between Ricky and Lucy just isn't the same. I agree with all these criticisms, but not for every episode. In fact, some of them are pretty great. They did 13 episodes over the course of 3 years, and here are the top 5 best ones. Let's start with number 5, and if you thought Godzilla was a problem, just wait till the Ricardos go to Japan. The Ricardos and the Mertzes go to Japan, and Lucy wants a string of real pearls. She already has fake ones. The actor Bob Cummings has a friend who can get her some, so she borrows money from Fred's money belt to pay for them. But Fred is going to check his money belt, so chaos ensues. While the Lucy-Desi Comedy Hour certainly has its problems, this episode plays much more like a regular episode of I Love Lucy. Sure, there's a celebrity guest star, but they don't overuse them, and the focus is on the Ricardos and the Mertzes. We get our only appearance of Lucy's mother in the series. Lucy and Ethel are knee-deep in their hijinks together when they sneak into the geisha house, and in a rare moment, Lucy and Ricky actually have a funny scene together when they argue while Ricky is getting dressed using the low-to-the-ground Japanese mirror. Lucy, I said no pearls.
Oh, honestly, you make me so mad. When you wear real pearls, you feel so much more glamorous and exciting.
I don't want anyone glamorous and exciting. I want you. It's everything you want in a Lucy adventure. And the Japanese setting gives the characters a lot of new things to do. Number 4 is Lucy Wants a Career. I'm not being sexist. I've just seen all the episodes. Tired of being a housewife, Lucy gets a job as co-host in Paul Douglas's morning show. She goofs as always, but audiences love it. She signs a 3-year contract, but she begins to miss her family. While there are certainly some hilarious moments, this is actually a rather touching episode. Since the first episode of I Love Lucy, Lucy has wanted to get into show business, and she finally does it. But things have changed since that first episode, and she realizes there are more important things than being a star: her family. She misses her son, little Ricky, and her husband. And since Ricky works at a nightclub and Lucy works on a morning show, the only time they spend together is 5 minutes at the train station before they go their separate ways. Gee, we never get a chance to talk anymore. I know. I didn't even have the chance to tell you how proud I am of you. These scenes are actually based on the early days of Lucy and Desi's marriage, when she was working in Hollywood and he was always on the road with his band, so their time together was always very brief. One of the complaints about this series is that the love between them is gone. But in this one, maybe because it hits so close to home, with the characters going off in their own directions, the love is back in. Now for number 3. Lucy hunts uranium. The Ricardos, the Mertzes, and Fred McMurray go uranium hunting in Las Vegas. One of the complaints about this show is that the hour format is too long. But for this episode, it works, and it's like a little I Love Lucy movie. When they're out uranium hunting, they actually think they find some. And in the morning, Fred and Ethel go to their car to warm it up, but the Ricardos see them and think that the Mertzes are trying to get to the claims office first. So they get in their car, and Fred McMurray gets in his car, and it becomes a car chase comedy, with each group trying to get to the claims office first. Babaloo, babaloo. Oh, shock. Hurry up, Fred. We're already going 50. What do you want me to do? Break the sound barrier? It's exciting and hilarious, because each group is trying to sabotage the other. If you've ever seen the movie It's a Mad, 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 Mad World, it reminds me of that, but on a smaller scale. Incidentally, the movie came out afterwards. There is no way you could have done this on I Love Lucy. The budget wasn't high enough, and you couldn't have shot the car chase scenes in front of a live audience. So this episode takes advantage of the new format the most, and shows how special the Lucy-Desi Comedy Hour could be. I also love how 50s this episode is. At the time, uranium was in high demand, and the government was paying a lot for it. A few people actually struck it rich, and it led to this uranium hunting boom, where thousands of people would go out with their Geiger counter trying to find the stuff. There was even a board game called Uranium Rush. So this episode, in a very entertaining way, captures a unique phenomena in American history. Now for number 2. Lucy makes room for Danny. Ricky is supposed to do a movie in Hollywood. So the Ricardos rent out their house to Danny Williams and his family. But when the movie is canceled, the Ricardos have to move in with the Mertzes, and Lucy becomes a nosy landlady. This is an early example of a crossover episode. Danny Williams and his family are from the TV show Make Room for Daddy, or as it was later named, The Danny Thomas Show. The show's big innovation was that they were a realistic family that showed the flaws of all the characters, which was quite a switch from the usual family shows. So Make Room for Daddy is a hilarious classic comedy in its own right, and of course I Love Lucy is too. So Make Room for Danny is 2 classic comedies for the price of 1. Because both shows feature flawed characters, the entire group goes together seamlessly. And Danny Thomas and Lucy work especially well together, because Danny is at his funniest when he's angry! And no one could get under someone's skin like Lucy Ricardo. Every 15 minutes, that super snooper is here. Hello? Hello? I'm glad you're up. I thought you always slept until noon. Yeah, so did I. Gail Gordon, who would later play Mr. Mooney on The Lucy Show, plays the judge at the end. So I actually made a mistake. This is 3 classic comedies in a single story. The other thing that I love about this episode is, by Lucy's standards, the comedy is kind of racy. When Lucy is disguised as Danny's wife, Danny has her scratch his back. And then when they go to court, Lucy sues him for mashing. It's naughty in the most innocent way, and it is so charming. Incidentally, a few weeks later, Lucy and Desi would return the favor and guest star on Make Room for Daddy. Now for the number 1 episode. The Celebrity Next Door. The celebrity Tallulah Bankhead moves in next door to the Ricardos and is going to star in a show for the PTA. But conflicts arise between Lucy and Tallulah. This episode was originally intended for Betty Davis and her husband, but Betty hurt her back, and I'm glad she did, because Tallulah Bankhead makes this one of the best Lucy adventures. If you don't know who Tallulah Bankhead is, you've got some explaining to do. But I'll tell you anyway. Tallulah Bankhead was a huge star and stage actress, known for her great acting, her party girl lifestyle, and diva personality. Her trademark was calling everyone darling, and she was actually the inspiration for Cruella de Vil. So that's what happened to Fred. During production, Vivian Vance complimented Tallulah's slacks. So in front of everybody, Tallulah took off her pants and gave them to Vivian. That's our girl. What makes Tallulah such a great guest star is that she's such a diva that it's fun to see her tormented by Lucy's hijinks. But Tallulah was also so talented, funny, and a good sport that she gets right in there with Lucy, acts silly, and spoofs her own image. And when I saw you in that movie Lifeboat, I just cried and cried. It makes me want to cry now just thinking about it. Ethel May, will you please stop boring Miss Bankhead? When Miss Bankhead is bored, Miss Bankhead will let you know. Now where were we, darling? Tallulah and Lucy also have great chemistry together. Usually Lucy just fawns over celebrities, and there's a little bit of that in the beginning. But through a series of misunderstandings, Tallulah and Lucy grow to despise each other, and their back and forth is truly hilarious. Incidentally, behind the scenes there was a bit of conflict as well. Lucy was all about rehearsal. Rehearse, rehearse, rehearse. And Tallulah was like, who cares? But by showtime, both women were at the top of their game. The final thing that I love about this episode is everyone has something to do. When Tallulah comes over for dinner, Fred and Ethel pretend to be the butler and the maid. and all the cast members are in the play at the end. I think this episode is right up there with Vitamin and Vegemin and the Chocolate Factory, but because it's technically not part of I Love Lucy, it's not talked about that much. But it is certainly the number one Lucy-Desi Comedy Hour episode. The day after filming the final episode, Lucy filed for divorce. While this series certainly has some weaker episodes, I treasure every adventure with the Ricardos and the Mertzes, and when giving the series a closer look, there are not only some good ones, but some great ones. So, thank you for watching Dusty Old Movies, and have a darling day.